Hey Purple Army, we're live on Instagram. David Mundy joins us on this Tuesday afternoon. Where do we find you, Dave?
I'm in our front room at our house, which is a pseudo second lounge room, pseudo study, pseudo wife's artist room. I'm looking around and it's absolutely chockers of a lot of stuff.
Very versatile. I like the placement of the jumper in the back as well.
Yeah, just a little product placement there. That's my 300th Guernsey from last year, all framed up, and yeah, some good memories there.
Absolutely. Hey Dave, 11 sleeps until Freo footy is back. How's the excitement levels?
Yeah, it's really building. We were able to begin contact training and get all the boys together twice a week now, which is really exciting. And I know a lot of guys are really thriving off of that. But yeah, it's starting to get more real. We have to have bags packed pretty soon and yeah, ship off next Tuesday. Yeah, really can't wait to get up there and get stuck in.
We've only got 4 players in the team with kids. You're one of them. What did you tell the kids? How do they feel and how do they take to you telling them you'd be taken off for at least 4 weeks to the Gold Coast?
Yeah, my kids are fairly young still. We're not quite sure that they get exactly how long they'll be away for just yet. We're trying to educate them and stuff on that, but we're also thinking at home about how we can, how we can get face-to-face contact time with FaceTime or Zoom or WhatsApp or whatever. Yeah, we're not exactly sure how it's going to go, but we'll see.
And Sally will hold down the fort while you're gone?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, she's more than capable. She's a great mum and a great runner of our household, so I've got full faith.
Days off in the Gold Coast, Dave. There are obviously AFL protocols that players and staff have to abide by, but what would an ideal day off on the Gold Coast look like for you?
Well, we're still yet to officially hear, but I'm hoping to take the golf sticks up and have a bit of a swing. But I'm also 3/4 of the way through my honours thesis at Murdoch Uni, so ideally a few hours of nothing to crack into that will be great. It's a commodity that I'm really short on at home with 3 young kids is spare time, so that'll be my #1 priority.
Dave, we know some of the boys pack the Xbox, the PlayStation on travel trips. Is there a non-negotiable for you that will be finding its way into your suitcase? Maybe something that'll make it Gold Coast feel a little bit more like home?
Well, outside of my laptop and my display monitor behind me, I've decided to take my guitar. I bought it about 15 years ago and I've cumulatively held it for about 10 minutes in that time. So I'm hoping to make some inroads. Connor Blakely thinks he can teach me a few things.
Perhaps a jam session on the Gold Coast. Hey, for the Purple Army at home watching, send in your questions in the comments below and we'll get to as many of them as we can shortly. We've got, Dave, some footy chat, essentially a full-strength midfield at the moment. It's a good problem to have. It'll be great to give games to players like Caleb Sarong and players like that, but the problem is who do you take out? Must be exciting to have a pretty packed midfield at the moment.
Yeah, it's a good problem to have, and across our entire playing list, we're fairly healthy. We're just missing a couple of our big guys really down back, and as I said, it's a great problem to have. But in saying that, the younger midfield group towed us up on Monday in match sim at training, so they're really hungry and they've taken a lot of steps forward even in this COVID lockdown time. So yeah, it's really exciting for them and for us and for our fans. So be exciting to see what they can do, especially up on the Gold Coast.
Let's talk about the match sim. We've had a couple contact training sessions as well. Must be nice after the better part of 2 months training individually. Must be nice to have the boys back around and getting some tackling and some bumping in.
Yeah, partly. I've got a little boots on the lip here from our first contact session last week that hasn't healed yet. So it's something you don't really have to think about running laps by yourself. But yeah, it's been great. The energy around the group has been really bubbly and the guys are really keen to get back into it in full swing. So we still have a number of restrictions around us within training, but certainly those match sim times that we're getting in our contact sessions twice a week is really beneficial.
And how's JL going? He was once your teammate, now he's your coach. A weird first year to be in the top job, but how's he handling it all?
Yeah, he's been really good. JL's a big relationships man and he's trying to build those connections amongst the playing group, both from himself, but then amongst the players themselves. And I think he's handled it really well. I know he's had a great access to the players over the COVID period, but the way he communicates and the way he goes about his job, I know he's resounding really strongly with a lot of the playing group. So I think he's done a great job so far, and hopefully he's placed us and we've placed ourselves in a position to put a few wins on the board for him this year.
Another teammate or ex-teammate who's now an assistant coach, Josh Carr. He's got the midfield looking quite good. What's it like working with Kari again?
Yeah, really good. Josh brings a different kind of mindset around a few subtle tactics within midfield, and to have that connection with him as a past player, I think has really helped. I think he's been fantastic in his role, and a little bit more dogged in his coaching, which I think is reflected from his playing days. So, excited to see what we can do under Kari as well.
Your role personally, Dave, is that looking like a midfield role, more time up forward? What's JL got in store for you this year?
Yeah, I think it'll be a continuation of years, the previous years gone by. High majority midfield, but rotating through the forward line. And as you mentioned before, we've got a pretty healthy group at the moment. So I think that'll be reflected in a number of guys floating through a couple of different positions. But I've certainly been preparing as well as I can over this preseason to play midfield minutes. And I think I'm in physically a pretty good spot to do that at the moment.
And we touched on Caleb's wrong earlier. How are the younger boys developing? They've had a bit of time now. Basically an extended pre-season kind of thing. How are they fitting in and how they're looking?
Yeah, I think we've been really fortunate in the last few years to draft some really high quality talent, but some really high quality characters as well. And as I mentioned before, they've taken this COVID lockdown period really seriously and as a chance to improve in a number of areas. And a number of them have come back in really good nick and are really displaying that on field within training at the moment. I think they're right. They're really ready to kind of excel and take that next step, whichever way that may be. But I think they've put themselves in a really good place.
Now, yourself and Hilly, you're over the young age of 30. You get to spend most of your days hanging out with 22-year-old teammates. You're about to hang out with them a whole lot more over the next month. How's it keeping up with the younger boys? And are you really enjoying the role of dishing out the advice and guiding them when they need it?
Yeah, it's something that I really value. I find it really engaging. I really enjoy tapping back into the perspectives of young guys coming through, trying to find their way a little bit. And if I can help guide that pathway and potentially fast track it in any way, that's great. It is sometimes challenging in the gym when Sean Darcy starts playing his playlists and things like that. It's a little bit disconnected from my taste, but it's good to have that variety, I guess, within the playing group.
Certainly is. Hey, let's dive into some of the fans' questions coming in the comments. So we can see below. Maggie asks, "How's the body feeling, Dave?" Yeah,
really good, Maggie. We've had a number of solid hit-outs upon our return now, and feeling really fit and pulling up really well from those. So happy to kind of keep cracking in, and I think we'll have another really big one on Friday before we fly out on Tuesday. So I feel like I'm physically and mentally really well prepared at this stage.
Certainly a positive for yourself and people like Blake Acres. You haven't really missed a lot of footy given this time off. How was that roller coaster, sort of anticipating you might miss a few games and now sort of back into it and you'll be ready for round two?
Yeah, it was a bit strange, especially at the beginning of the lockdown period. Because I know Alex Pearce and myself in particular and Nathan Wilson were scrambling in the last 3 weeks to try and tick off our KPIs and progress our rehab programs to hopefully be right for round two. And obviously halfway through round one, it was called off. So it was certainly a bit of an adjustment. But yeah, the extra kind of 8 weeks has really been a good kind of a bit of a godsend for a few of us, I guess. And now we're all up and about and healthy, ready to go.
A question by the username Scarborough Guy. He says, in the event that we make finals, can you break out the mohawk? Is that a promise you can make right now, Jay?
No, I don't think so. I'm enjoying my hair while I've got it. My father, my mum's dad, was bald as a badger, pretty early in his life, and I think I'm going that way. So I'm just trying to enjoy it while I've got it. I was rocking a really good moustache halfway through COVID lockdown though, so I'll maybe be able to give that a crack.
Bring it back for sure. While we're on the topic of finals, O'Day asks, do you think this group can take us to finals footy? Given, over the next 3 years, where do you see this group where do you see it heading? Yeah,
as I said before, I think we've got a really good group of young guys that are highly talented and highly driven to succeed and get the most out of themselves. I think especially for that young cohort, the next year or two or three, it'll be about time on track and whether they can remain healthy and together and building those connections and understandings amongst themselves, but also of themselves and how they best pair. But I certainly think we have the makings of a really great group, and the relationships and the connection amongst the group is really solid, as strong as I've ever seen within a playing group. So I think the building blocks are there. It's just a matter of progressing.
We touched on JL earlier. We've got a question here from Nick saying, are you liking JL's brand of footy? Can you give us a bit of an insight what he's brought to the team? What sort of philosophies has he instilled in the playing group so far?
Yeah, in a footy sense, JL obviously has a few different things in the way he goes about it. I won't publicly talk about those because they're a bit of football IP. But I think just his relationship building and the way he gets in amongst the playing group and really tries to have, I guess, an open door policy, but to be really visual and really open to any kind of conversation and player input has been first class and something that the playing group has really responded well to, I think. So I think JL has done a magnificent job so far.
On that, I think over the last 6-7 years, he's really taken on all sorts of different roles, a defensive role, a forward role, mid role. Does that help him relate to all the different lines within the team as well? Yeah,
certainly. I asked him not too long ago, actually, how he was finding the difference between a head coach and a line coach in a football sense. And he mentioned that his past experience obviously puts him in a good space to understand multiple roles and multiple people amongst that. But the hardest challenge obviously now is working within a broader playing group and looking after 46 guys instead of a 10 or 12 or whatever. But as I said, I think he's doing a good job with that.
Dave, another one here from Ella. If you had to share a room with someone in the hub, who would you like? Who'd be the ideal roommate?
The ideal roommate, I guess I would go with Ethan Hughes. We share, well, he's next to my locker, obviously, has been for a long time, and Ethan is a very clean-cut, neat person, so I imagine that he would translate that into his living arrangements. And so, sharing a hotel room with Ethan would be a no-fuss kind of situation, I feel.
Could I get the flip side to that? Who you wouldn't want to?
Well, I mentioned him before, and I feel like I'm picking on him now, but Sean Darcy would be horrible. He's sometimes really bubbly and in your face and up and about and has really ordinary sense in music, but is the opposite of Ethan in terms of cleanliness and tidiness, I feel.
Hello to you, Sean, if you're watching. Sorry about Dave. Hey, thank you, Purple Army, for your questions. Dave, you fly out on Tuesday. For the fans and the members watching at home, is there a message you've got for them as you head off to the Gold Coast? Unfortunately, they can't be there with us, but I'm sure they'll be tuning in from their couch.
Yeah, I guess I'd just like to say thank you for your continued support through this period and through this season. It's a challenging time for us all. As a football club and as a playing group, we're absolutely stoked to be, I guess, paying the price to get the league and the season underway and to put on a show for you guys, and hopefully through the interactions through the TV and whatever media that you use, you enjoy our performances and what we can put on the park. We've certainly been working hard for a long time to give you a brand of football that's worthwhile and worth watching and that you're proud of. So thank you for your support, and go Freo.
We're looking forward to Brisbane in about 11 days' time. Thanks, Dave, for your time today.
Thank you.